Idaho's primary elections are coming up in just a few days. So in this video, I want to talk about the three main gubernatorial Republican candidates, the candidates that are running for the governor of the state of Idaho. I'll talk about the accomplishments and the shortfalls of each candidate, and I'll start with the incumbent, our current governor, Brad Little. So Mr. Little, our current governor, is running for re-election in the fall. He's currently polling at 60%, so he's definitely a front runner. This is his first term that he's finishing up. And if you look at his record over the past 4 years, he definitely has a number of accomplishments that he can be proud of, and I wanted to highlight a few here. Number one, last year we finished the fiscal year with a $1.9 billion surplus. This was the biggest surplus in Idaho state history. And that led to the largest income tax cut in state history, as well as property tax rebates going back 2 years. He's also, as governor, cut 95% of Idaho's red tape, and that has made Idaho the least regulated state in all of the United States. He's also challenged Biden's attempts to invade some of our privacy over the past couple years. Last year, he joined a federal lawsuit in suing the federal government over mask mandates or over vaccine mandates and other issues related to the pandemic. He's also challenged Biden's incompetency at the border. And he's invested in transportation and infrastructure, and he's also given one of the largest funding increases for K through 12 schools in Idaho state history. But as you would suspect, he's not above criticism. Back in March of 2020, when we first even heard the word COVID, the governor shut down the state for initially 3 weeks, I think it was, and then he extended that for another 3 weeks. So there was about 6 weeks where many of the businesses in Idaho were shut down, and some people are definitely resentful of the governor for doing that. He also was sort of too soft on mask mandates as it relates to the state of Idaho. Now, he never issued a mask mandate throughout the state, but he also never issued an executive order that bans mask mandates in public places or in businesses, nor did he issue an executive order that bans vaccine mandates. And for some people believe that the governor should have done that. He should have been more proactive in trying to keep the government out of our life, especially as it relates to the government's response to the pandemic. As for the biggest challenge facing Idaho, he thinks that growth is definitely the number one challenge that we Idahoans face here. How do we address all of this growth and supply the amount of infrastructure that we need to combat the issues that arise out of this growth? But he also says that growth is Idaho's greatest opportunity. And I think he's right there. Growth does come with growing pains, but it also provides opportunities that smaller states don't have. The second candidate that is running for the office of governor is our lieutenant governor, Janice McGeachin. Side note, that's McGeachin. There's a silent CH there. Now, she sees the biggest challenge facing Idaho today as the loss of our freedoms. She thinks the government is coming too close to Idahoans, and she wants to get the government off of our backs as much as possible. Definitely a yay for that. She really took issue with Brad Little's response to the pandemic. She wants to eliminate Idaho's corporate income tax and grocery tax, and she wants to defend our culture or our state against cancel culture. First of all, she's the first lieutenant governor of the state. So she's definitely reached a milestone on that front. And she's also, as the lieutenant governor, has some experience governing already. She was endorsed by Donald Trump in the fall of last year and is very much into freedom. Sort of her tagline is "Make Idaho Free Again." As far as some of her shortfalls, though, last March, so about a month ago, she delivered a videotaped speech to a political group called the American First Political Action Group. And they had a conference with some wacko guy called Nick Fuentes. I had never heard of him, but he's some white supremacist, Holocaust denier. He's praised Putin and Hitler and says that the US is the great Satan and an evil empire of the world. So he's on the wrong side in every single issue. And about a month ago, Janice McGeachin filmed a speech, and that speech played at this conference that this person organized. So I realize that when you speak somewhere, that doesn't necessarily mean that you support everything that all of the conference speakers are saying, but I also think that there's a limit to it. To me, her appearing there in that conference either illustrates that she's sympathetic to some of that garbage, or that she's just trying to appeal to any and everybody just to get the votes to be governor. And to me, neither of those is right. I don't think she should have been there, and I think she should be called out on that. Throughout last year, the governor, Brad Little, left the state of Idaho twice for 24 hours. And according to state statute, when the governor leaves the state, it's the lieutenant governor who is the acting governor. So during that 24-hour period, she issued an executive order. The first time that he left, she issued an executive order that banned mask mandates, so making it illegal for a school system or a business to ban or to institute a mask mandate. And then the second time that the governor left, she issued another executive order that banned vaccine mandates. I'm against anybody exercising or issuing executive orders. That's the whole point. An executive order is something that is done by fiat or by one person that just declares something. If you want to change the law, do it through the system, change the law, but don't just issue an executive order. Another criticism I have is last year, as the lieutenant governor, she was not able to balance the budget. She actually, her office ended up with a $22,000 deficit, and she had to work for a month or two without pay to make up for that. And that deficit came about through a lawsuit that she lost in court that related to an education task force that her office had set up. It's kind of a complicated story, but basically she set up an education task force. That kind of went south. She got brought to court because she didn't want to release public records, and she ended up coming up short in her budget, and she ended up with a deficit of $22,000 last year. So to me, that says that she's not the best manager. If she came up short on a budget that's not all that big, how is she going to manage a statewide budget of about $4.5 billion if she becomes the next governor? The third candidate that is running for the office of governor is a 31-year-old financial advisor from Eagle, Ed Humphreys. Now, his big issues are the following. Number one, school choice. That's what he would describe as his top priority. He also wants to abolish the Idaho income tax. And in his view, the biggest challenge that Idaho is facing in 2022 is house prices. Now, as for his accomplishments, the problem with Ed Humphreys is that he's a young guy that has not served in public office. So we can't really point to accomplishments as an elected official. He seems like he says the right things. I mean, I like that he's a constitutional patriot. But right now, this is the election season, and everybody likes to say the right thing. So who should you vote for? Obviously, vote for whoever you think the best candidate is. If you're curious about who I'm going to vote for, I'm throwing my support behind Brad Little. I think over the past 4 years, he's done an excellent job of managing the government. He's been fiscally conservative. He's reduced government regulations. I like what Janice McGeachin has to say about being more aggressive as it relates to personal liberty and freedom. I just have some reservations about some of her affiliations and her ability to govern and manage. So on balance, I think Brad Little is the best candidate overall. But if you want to go deeper and learn about some of the issues that we have been dealing with here in Idaho over the past year or so, click on any of these videos that are popping up on your screen right now.